and gentlemen, boys and berries, here we are again. It's Monday, Magical Monday, and we're going to talk about magic. And we're going to talk about event planners, a plethora of event planners. See that? Boop. Just like that. And who would know more about event planners than my friend Steve? Because he's been on the planet longer than I, and probably talked to a lot more. Well, yeah, he's probably talked to a lot more planners. I don't like talking to people. Steve likes to talk. Let's listen to Steve.
You always bring up that I'm older than you, and no, it's not, the age has nothing to do with it. It's about how much experience I've had, so.
You've had a lot.
That's okay. I'll be older than you. I'm 60.
You owned your own magic stores.
In fact, this month I turned 69. Yeah.
69. You're going to be the big 7-0 someday.
Yeah, I know.
Ay. How does it feel?
Yeah, I have a mixed feeling because I'm happy about where I'm at. At the same time, it's a whole new experience for me. Growing older. And I see old people and I'm going, God, they're the same age as I am. Anyway.
I know. I see some that are younger than me that are waddling around and can't get around. I'm 65 in June, so I'm behind schedule. I'm going to try and catch up to you, do some of these quantum leaps through the time-space continuum.
I'm sure you are. So let's talk about meeting planners because I have a lot to say about this.
Yeah, because I've been, again, trying to stay in my lane here with my focus in the event industry. And then when you think about the events, the whole event industry, there's a lot of types of events. And with each type of event, there's a different type of event planner. Some have to be very detail oriented and others need to just really know how to make it feel like a lot of fun.
Right.
And every planner is different. And like you had made a comment on your one of your performances where some of the kids were getting out of hand at a show and what can you do? You can't slap them. At least you can't these days. You gotta be careful. So what do you do in a situation like that? Because the mother that put together the event's kind of like the event planner.
Yeah, well, see, that's, the night before I did a party and a birthday party for a child, and there were 100 people there. And there were about 30 of them were children. And the problem was when I walk into something like that, no one's there to greet me. And then I go in, I go off to the side, waiting to see what's going to happen. And I finally had to ask someone who was in charge. Right. Of course, I have the name of the person who booked me, which was the mother, but she's busy doing what she's doing, And so they needed an event planner at that. Now they did. It was a big to-do. I mean, they had a DJ. They had someone there doing balloons, and they had a full display of food. What I'm trying to say is, it took a lot of planning to do that. And if she had a meeting planner, I never met the person. And as a vendor who was being featured, paid to perform and entertain them, I would think that person would introduce himself to me. But that's the problem. And don't get me wrong, I'm a firm believer in event planners. I think that more events need event planners than what they realize. But the other aspect of it is not all event planners are experienced enough to know exactly what to do and how to go about it. In my opinion, that's my opinion. Okay. But yeah, I mean, you gotta have someone in charge. You gotta have someone who's kind of, and so I appreciate the fact when there's someone in charge and telling me, you're going to set up over here, you're going to start, and how much time do you need? How do you want to do this? I mean, this party I'm telling you about, I had to ask if I was going to use my sound system or their sound system, which they did have. And then I had to ask them to turn the lights up. The light, it was so dim in the ballroom where I was.
Right.
People, they don't realize that people's eyes get tired over a half hour of watching something, and you need, and not only that, but if you're going to see a magic trick, you want it lit up so you can see. Anyway, things like that I had to bring up. So sometimes as a vendor or a performer, however you want to look at me, I have to somewhat educate them. at the same time, there are some phenomenal event planners, like you just mentioned. So some of them have a great deal of detail that they can go into. Others are still learning, and yet I've actually encouraged a couple of people to go into the event planning business because there is a need there. I don't know how to charge or how to set that up. I don't know enough about that part of it. But yeah, and you're bringing up the fact that there are so many aspects of the event planner. Where do you get educated? Where do they learn?
Well, there's associations like MPI has the CMP
That's right.
certification, Certified Meeting Professional. Now, a meeting is a lot different than a fair or a festival.
That's true.
So that training is going to be a lot different than a CFM, which would be a Certified Festival Manager.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot different from I think it's a CESP, Certified Events, Certified Special Event Planner. That's a different thing, and they learn different elements. And sometimes I get people come up, I want to get into event planning, and I'm like, are you sure? Because people think that it's gonna be so fun. We go get these flowers and put up
Right.
decorations, and
Right.
I don't realize that. Oh, you mean I need to be able to tell the magician that he's going to be on the stage, and I might have to know something about sound and lighting and AV
Right.
and.
Right.
Oh, we forgot the little stairs that go up on the platform. Right. There's all these little things that you didn't forget about when you're thinking about putting flowers on the tables.
That's right. It's more than just decorations and the food.
Yeah, even like in the trade show world, every exhibitor, an exhibit manager, that's an event planner. They need to deal with picking out the booth, finding the right traffic flow. How's it going to all work? They need to go with the regulations because you can only go so high, or you got to pay extra money to have some kind of island display or something hanging from the ceiling. You got to pay to have the thing vacuumed out. And if it's in Chicago, it's a union thing, so you can't do it yourself. So every event has a different, like a city celebration that's outdoor. You got elements to worry about.
Yeah.
You got those turtles for the electric and all that. And some people put the event planner all under one category. And because that's what I've been going through right now, trying to stay focused. Like I said, I got this little piece of physical paper. I can stay focused in the event world. And then I started thinking, yeah, well, what kind of event should I focus on? Because they're all different.
Yeah, I did an event a couple of months ago, and there were probably 1,000 people there. It was a big celebration for Easter. It was an Easter egg hunt. Now I just remember what it was. And they had all kinds of booths and vendors there. And they had me on the main stage as a featured entertainment after the egg hunt. Mm-hmm. So they had set up bleachers in front of the stage, but they set them up like 100 feet away from the stage. And there's a giant gap. And so I was not able to connect with the audience being on that main stage. And the other thing was they didn't educate the people, let them know that there was going to be a show afterwards. So only maybe a few hundred people stayed to watch the show.
Yeah,
it's very difficult. I did a festival the other day. I forgot about this one, and they had me in a gazebo, at least almost 50 yards away from the booth. So all the crowd was over by the booths, and there was no signage. Mm-hmm. Nothing was saying there was going to be a magic show. Nothing. That's here. Of course, I'm talking about festivals, but you're right. You're right, Brad. If you're going to be an event planner, you need to be able to specialize or be well educated in the versatility of the type of event you're going to be in.
Well, like I did our local city celebration here, the Fridley 49ers Festival, and you got a committee that's involved, but they've got a lot of other things to worry about. The person that I said she'll get me a tent so I can work under the tent and be protected from the elements, and they got a sound system, they'll take care of that. But she works for the city, so she's also worried about the police blocking off the road and getting electric and permits and all that. That is really none of my concern. So yeah, it's a challenging element, and that's kind of what I want to talk about this topic and just shed some light on. Like even from a performer's point of view, you need to know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Are you
Right.
talking to the assistant to the planner? Are you talking to the
Right.
actual planner? Or are you talking to somebody that's just helping and putting it together for you?
Well, I'll go back to the topic of I brought up about where does an event planner learn how to do that business? And you mentioned MPI, which Meeting Planners International, which there's some education going on there, but I don't think that it was only in the grassroots um, that they really get an experience.
Mhm.
My one friend, I encouraged to pursue the event planning. She started off doing weddings,
Yeah,
which that particular event is kind of you know the parameters, you know what to expect, you know how to work around that. But that's nothing compared to doing a festival or a trade show. It's not the same thing at all,
right.
And so I'm really curious as to where these event planners are going to learn.
I think that a lot of them need to learn from doing
That's
because
well,
things happen.
but see, if I'm hiring you, I want to know that you've got some experience.
Sure, because you can get that certification, and what that certification teaches, and I'm not downplaying MPI or anything like that. It's just that you can't teach somebody experience. You got to get in and do it and learn. But the MPI stuff teaches you how many chairs you can fit into a 100 by 100 room, how many seats in theater seating versus classroom seating. They'll teach you that kind of stuff. But now you got to get in there. Like I did an event for a law firm up here. God, I can't remember the name of the law firm, but it was a big law firm here in Minneapolis, and they had hired the Commodores to come in, and they were having a big presentation at Orchestra Hall, and we brought in a caterer. So they had a theme, and the theme was the Blue Danube. So they asked the caterer, "Could you make like a river going down where the food is, a little water trickling down? That'd be kind of cool." And when I heard that, I thought, water has a mind of its own. So inevitably, what ended up happening was she just got a big tarp, big blue tarp, and then was putting stuff underneath of it to hold it up and everything. And she had a pump hooked up who would bring the water back and go down the river. And at first, it sounded like a good idea, but then all of a sudden, we're testing it out, and the water decided to take a little chain roll out, and all of a sudden, it's
Right.
pouring down here. Oh my God, what are we going to do? We got to get this cleaned up here. Running around, all of a sudden, someone kicks over a 5 gallon pail of water. Door's going to open in about 10 minutes. We're squeegeeing and napkins and towels,
Wow.
and didn't think about that, did you, caterer? You can make food, but you don't know how to landscape.
Well, yeah, and especially when someone who's booking you has a special request. It's something you've not used to doing. And I've learned that as an entertainer to be very careful about taking on a project that I've not used to doing.
Yeah, and again, experience teaches. I had a situation where it seemed like a simple thing. They wanted me to magically produce a penguin, which was their mascot.
Right, right.
So I just set up a little flash pot, and then the penguin came out, walked out, mascot just walked through the smoke. Looked kind of dramatic, but I didn't have the experience of doing that. But I thought this would be easy.
Yeah.
Well, that smoke triggered the fire alarm.
Oh no. That's it.
The
Yeah.
whole thing got shut out. The hotel, everybody had to get out of the hotel.
Oh no.
It was
I'm so sorry you had that experience.
Yeah, well, yeah, I got experience now. I won't do that again.
That cost you.
Yeah, so that's where the experience comes from. I think you can get the training by joining the organization, whether it's weddings, because there's wedding organizations, there's special event organizations, there's trade shows, there's public trade shows, which is different than a business to business trade show. There's the meetings, seminars, workshops, the retreats. It's all different kind of stuff, and they're all very niched, and you gotta I got a good friend, my wife's friend, better acquainted with her. She teaches people how to do retreats, and a lot of people don't think about you need to have insurance in case someone cuts themselves or something, and if they get sick, are you prepared to airlift them off the island back to a hospital? You gotta be ready for that stuff. And people don't think about it. Oh, it's just like going on a vacation. No, now you're managing 50 people.
I'll be honest. At this point in my career, I really don't personally know any event planners. I know they're out there, but I don't see them advertising themselves, nor am I aware of them. Now, I'm sure, like I say, they're there. What do you about Minnesota, where you're at?
They're definitely around. Wherever there's an MPI chapter, there's usually a lot of event planners. And ironically, I just put a bunch of organizations into my database because there's, like I said, there's festivals, there's associations for all these things. The NACE for catering, ILEA for special events, MPI for meetings, IEEA for exhibits. There's all these different organizations, and they like you know Lee Knight.
What?
Lee Knight, Rochester magician, got really good at trade show stuff and started a company called Exhibitor Magazine. And now he does the Exhibitor Show in Las Vegas. And that's all education on how to exhibit. It's
Really?
a huge thing at Mendeley Bay.
That's great.
So to find event planners, all you have to do is find out that certified acronym, CMP or CESP. You find what that is, go on to LinkedIn and type in that acronym, and you'll find a whole bunch of event planners. So
Yeah, I know, but what I guess what I'm trying to say is, how are they promoting their services? I don't see, and I'm not aware. And like I say, I don't get me wrong. And throughout my career, I've had some fantastic experiences with some huge events. I mean, whoever was putting it together, they were doing a phenomenal job. I've really have been involved, and it makes you feel good when you come in as a vendor and it's all organized, and they tell you what to do and where to go, how to unload your equipment, all that stuff. But and I've not been to a website to see who's promoting what. I do know that some of the people I knew in the past, they were not cheap. They were in
it depends on where you're going to.
many thousands of dollars to be an event
If you're
planner.
going with an independent planner, they may also be a member of MPI and certified and all that. And I'll preface this a little bit because times changed. Corporate event planners, these CMPs, General Mills, Pillsbury, 3M, they all had their certified meeting
Yes,
planner.
they do. You're right.
And that's where I would find them all. But that all changed back. I don't know if you remember back when you got to be really careful about gifting certain people certain things, and they would do these big. And all of a sudden, we don't need an event planner. We'll just use Sally, the secretary. She'll pull it together for us.
Right. And some of the major corporations do have a good person who's schooled and trained and know how to put together an event.
Yeah, that's their job.
Yeah, that's their job. It really is. That is their job.
A lot of it ends up being booking travel, which has changed a lot with COVID. But they used to arrange all the travel to send the sales team out to a conference, and they organized all the hotel rooms and concierge type stuff, and that was their job.
Yeah,
that's changed.
So if there's anybody out there who's watching this, and they wanted to get into the event planning business, what would you tell them? Where?
First thing I'd say, what kind of event? Wedding, fair, festival, concert.
Well, they're not going to know.
Yeah,
maybe they will.
It's kind of like what you've done with what you do with the magic. You could be doing trade shows, you could be doing seminars, you could be doing corporate events, but you niched it down to the children's birthday party
and
the senior organization of the daycare centers. You got a nice little niche, so you know exactly what to do.
Right.
And it took you almost 70 years to figure it out.
Well,
so that's the thing I would tell people.
Yeah, I changed and I refocused myself, reinvented myself. Yeah, you're right. So you have to ask them. You say, well, what type of events do you want to do? And then obviously they're going to be probably attracted to the events where they've had some experience, or at least been around.
I just want to perform. I want to do anything. Well, no, you don't.
Yeah, you're right.
It's best to niche. Like my friend David Stahl, he focused on trade shows. And he ended up being Joel Bauer type. He worked a lot with Joel Bauer.
That's great.
Find that niche. Myself, I was kind of like, I did this trade show, this expo that I do here, the Minnesota Event Expo. I do this trade show and I got all sorts of event planners. So I would just put out, add magic to your next event. and it would be weddings, birthdays, funerals. You get all sorts of different types of events.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. I was hired once to embarrass this girl's sister. They had an ongoing thing that they used to do to embarrass each other every year.
Hmm.
And I was hired to do that. So I met her at the
Wow.
airport and I embarrassed her in front of her family.
Wow.
So it's weird. I even engaged to a woman for a guy once. He hired me to produce his engagement ring to his
Oh yeah.
fiancée because
Oh yeah. I've done that. Yeah.
he wasn't able to get there on time. So he had me go in and I'd pretend like I was a restaurant magician. And I was at the table with her and her mother. And I produced with flash paper, I just produced the ring. And she goes, "Oh my God, that's cool." And then all of a sudden it hit her. "Oh my God."
And he wasn't there?
Yeah, Lenny. He was going to be there, but he was a little bit late. So he hired me to go there and produce the ring. He called me like the day before. He knew that he was going to be late and stuff. So he just paid me $100 and gave me the ring and says, "Just do this." So
Oh. Oh my.
you never know.
No, you never know. I'll tell you. You're right. It's crazy.
That's one of the wonderful things about having the experience that we do. I've got 65 years. You've got 70. I just kicked it up there. I'm preparing you.
I'm ready. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
we've gone for 22 minutes here, Steve.
Oh, why we have, haven't we? Yes.
You have any final thoughts?
Wedding planners, all event planners need to plan. Everybody needs a plan. If you don't have a plan, then you're flying by your, whims. I wouldn't
Yeah.
go that way. So
You need to know how to put out those fires.
yeah. Oh
'Cause
yeah.
that's what ends up happening.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's out of your control, and all you have to do is apologize. I did a wedding once where it was blistering hot, and they were waiting to get the cake out. They wanted to get it out as fast as possible, and the frosting was all falling off the cake.
Oh, jeez.
What are you gonna do? You sit there and fan the cake, and you just deal with it.
Oh, you got it, man. You got it right.
That's
And then,
it. So that's a good way to do it.
what you said a while ago about getting the experience. You may not be able to find a place to train you, but go out there and get some experience. Volunteer to work with an event planner. Volunteer to put on some type of charity event or whatever.
Or if you want, you could get some knowledge by going on to good old YouTube and do like event fails, wedding fails. If you want to see all the things that could possibly go wrong,
Right. Yeah.
get ready because there's plenty of stuff that could go wrong.
But we've given everybody something to think about here. That's for sure.
Okay, Steve-O, I'm going to pop you in the green room.
All right. Bye-bye.
Well, there you go. That's part of the deal. There are a plethora of event planners. There's a lot of different types of events. So get focused. I mean, I'm challenged with focus. That's for sure. Anyways, that's all I got for you. Peace, love, and happiness. Be good, be kind, be nice.